Morning, and as you can see, it's Dress Down Thursday today because I'm going to be driving a white van. And of course, white vans, they're dirty, stinky, smelly old things, and you don't want to ruin your best clothes in them. But is that still the case? Have things changed? Now electric vehicles are becoming more popular. This is Nissan's NV200. It's the electric version of their very popular van. To look at this from outside, to be honest, you wouldn't really know it was any different from any other NV200. We've got the zero emissions badge on, the same as the Leaf, and we've got a few other little flashes around the van to give you that clue. But unless you knew what you were looking for, you would have no idea. And just touching on that, this very much is, the basis of this is the Nissan Leaf. You see the same battery, the same motor, and lots of stuff in and around the van that is a straight lift from the Leaf. So let's just have a quick whiz around the outside to see those differences before we get inside and have a real good poke and prod around. So at the front, like I said, there's no real difference from any other NV200, apart from we see this blue flash on the badge. Of course, blue means it's good for the environment. Some little blue flashes in the headlight, and the biggest thing is this big square here that flaps up. Now on the Leaf I could open that with my key, but on this one the key, it turns the air conditioning on remotely, which actually I think that's a really good idea. I like that, but in order to open this flap I have to go inside the car and pull a lever. Once it's open, you'll see inside you've got your level 1 charging and you've got your shadow mode charger. Now the big thing about this vehicle is the different models and what you do and don't get on them. So you've got the Vizier, the Ascenter, this is the Ascenter, and the Tecna. The Vizier very much is the base model. There's very little on there. You don't even get your rapid charging option. So your 50 kilowatt shadow mode plug doesn't come on the base model. It comes on the Ascenter and the Tecna as standard. So if you are somebody who's going to rapid charge your vehicle regularly, you need to start looking at the Ascenter and above. There's a few other bits and I will point them out as we go round. So that's the front, let's head up to the back. Back here, well, again, more of the same, really, just the little flashes to let us know that this is an electric vehicle. We see the E at the beginning of the badge there, but it's the same as any other NV200. There's these little touches around here that I think sets this beyond some of the real basic vans that you see elsewhere. So things like, we've got these little touch buttons on the back and on the doors. They lock and unlock with your keys in your pocket, so you've got remote access. It's the same when you get in the car. You don't have to put a key in the ignition, you just push the button as long as the keys are on you, which is great when you're carrying stuff and you're trying to do bits and pieces. Last thing you want to do is get keys out your pocket, drop them and all the rest of it. So that's really handy. So in the back of the van, what we find is, well, my notebook, because I'm going to give you all the different measurements and bits and pieces that you need to know about this load area. So let me start off by giving you the overall size of this vehicle. Length is about 4.5 meters, width is 1.75 meters, and height is 1.85 meters. So that gives you an idea of the general outside dimensions of this vehicle. Let's get inside and have a good poke in here. So what we find is, between these two wheel arches here is a distance of 1.22 meters. Between the two walls, so you've obviously got a little bit more room there, is 1.5 meters. From floor to ceiling, the extremities, is 1.36 meters. So you can see, my width, my arms out, I'm kind of flat palmed on the side there, not so much on some of these bits sticking out. And well, I'm kneeling down, plenty of room. If I stand up, might give you an idea, bit hunched over. So what Nissan say is you can get 2 Euro-sized pallets in the back of this van without any issues, with plenty of room around them. So if that makes more sense to you, that might kind of describe how big this load area is. It's got a bulkhead here that can be removed, and you can put a ladder across from front to back with a total length of 2.8 meters if you have the hatch in here or you have this bulkhead removed. So as you expect with all vans, there's lots of options. This thing you can have as a van like this. It can come ply lined, it can come with seats in it, it can be a passenger vehicle, and we see a lot of these used as like a people carrier. You can get between 5 and 7 seats put in here with all the windows and the makeup for it. So these are really, really versatile vehicles. You can also load the roof. The roof you can add an extra 100 kilos of load to. So as with all vans, it really is, it's interchangeable. You make it how this works for you and your business. As soon as I started driving this van, there was 2 things that struck me more than anything. The first is how un-van-like this is to drive. It, compared to all the other vans I've ever driven, this is really, really refined. And I think a lot of that is to do with the noise level, which is exceptionally quiet for a van. And that brings me on to the second point, which is, having just come from an electric car, and I drive electric cars all the time, that although yes, this is very, very quiet for a van, there's quite a lot of background noise reverberating around because it's a van that doesn't make it as quiet as other electric vehicles. So yeah, we've got a big empty space back there. Even though I've got this bulkhead in, you know, it's just a bit of tin at the end of the day. You can hear those noises around. And if I don't look back there and look around too much and just concentrate on what's in front of me, well, it feels like a car. Handling wise, well, yeah, it's a van. It handles like a van. There's nothing overly exciting about it. It does what you expect it to do. And it's empty at the moment, so it's more likely to sit up and kind of skit around a little bit. Of course, it's going to do that. But my view and my controls, everything's to hand, everything's easy to see. I've got lovely, decent sized mirrors at either side of me so I can see what's behind. If I go into reverse, I've got my reversing camera. It's all here nicely surrounding me so that everything is within arm's reach of what I need. This van comes with a 40 kilowatt hour battery, but actually you can't use all that. About 38 kilowatt hours are usable, about 107 brake horsepower, and a 0 to 60 time in 14 seconds. So not overly quick, but that's not what really matters in here. What matters is that you've got loads of low down torque. That 0 to 40 time is really, really fast. And when you're fully loaded, actually getting away off the line, you want that torque, you want that power there. You're not worried about top speed. Now, while I'm using this van, what I want to do is we'll look at two sides of it, because I think there's two distinct types of people that are going to buy this. There's first and foremost the sort of person that is your final mile kind of delivery in and around towns and cities, whether it's picking up, delivering, just going in and around the towns and cities to their jobs. The second type of person is somebody who's probably going to travel in it, maybe fill it with all sorts of goods and then travel to an event, a show, or a place of work. So let's start off in the towns and cities and see what it's like there. And well, the biggest thing I find here is just how maneuverable it is. The turning circle is really, really tight, which is great. The steering is nice and light when you're doing that. And I think the best thing about this, from the point of view of somebody who maybe is in and out of the van an awful lot, is how relaxing and how easy it is to drive. In here, you don't have to worry about changing gear. The pickup is incredibly smooth. We don't have any noise. It's other than those little bits that I said about for a van, it's so quiet. It's so easy. I think you're going to get home after a long day's work in here and feel an awful lot fresher than you would in your diesel van. If we then look at this from the point of view of somebody who's going to spend a long time travelling in it, maybe on dual carriageways and motorways, well, again, the noise is the key for me. It's so much more relaxing. But because this is a really nice cockpit here, it's not van-like in any way, shape or form, I think that's going to relax you. That's going to make you feel better when you get there. I joked at the start that I dressed down today because vans are dirty and smelly and horrible. Well, this could not be further from that. This really does feel like a nice level of car. And I think when you get to wherever you're going, the way the rear is configured, so we've got the double doors open at the back, we've got the two sliding doors either side. However you want to get in or out or load or unload your cargo, you've got a door for it and you've got plenty of space for it. And from a full charge in this 40 kilowatt hour battery, it's probably not the most efficient electric vehicle you're ever going to drive. Now, its drag coefficient isn't great, and compared to some other electric vans on the market, it probably doesn't compare as well as some of them. But what you can expect in the real world is probably somewhere between 115 and 120 miles per charge. Servicing wise, this is going to be so much cheaper than your petrol or diesel equivalent. Of course, there's no fluids, there's no oil, there's no filters. The brakes, you don't have to replace them as often, because if you use this with the regenerative braking, you can go from D to B, which slows the vehicle down much more harshly. And as it's slowing it down, of course, it regenerates some charge back into the battery and it allows you to go further. Well, while that's going on, you're not using your brakes. Really, all those things that you worry about when your service comes round, you can pretty much forget. They come with a great warranty on the batteries, and I've said it so many times now, the batteries, they do not need any care. They look after themselves. And this particular one, well, it's got a thermal battery management system on it. So it keeps itself cooler or warms itself up as and when it needs to, letting the battery last that much longer. If you buy the bottom of the range, the Visia, it doesn't have that on it, but from the Ascenta up to the Tecna, it comes as standard. Having driven here to do this review in the Nissan Leaf, it's clear that a lot of that Leaf is in here. I mean, the steering wheel is almost identical, barring a couple of buttons. It's set very much in a van type fashion. I think they call it a truck angle, this steering wheel. It's further up and it's slightly tipped forward. It allows you to sit up in the van, give you plenty of room for your legs, and give you that kind of dominating driving position. My view out the front is brilliant. I've got lovely big windows all round, and the display in front of me, well, it's got everything I need to know, from speed to my charge, even houses the reversing camera. So let's keep looking around the cabin of this van. So I've got all my controls for my mirrors down here by my right, timers and things for charging. I can tell it when I want it to charge. Down here, the bonnet release, and next to the bonnet release is the release for the charge ports at the front. And then in the middle here, I've got my radio. It's a CD player with a radio, FM, AM. There's Bluetooth, there's an auxiliary port. It's a basic radio. But I have to say, considering this is a van, the sound from it is very, very good. I was really impressed with that. Here I've got my climate controls. So this one has got auto climate. Below that, I've got, I can lock and unlock my doors. I've got my eco button, which on the Leaf is on the steering wheel, but it's here in this car. Next to that, I've got my start stop button. As I said before, you just need the keys in your pocket, hit the button, and away you go. And do you know what? I really like having this gear stick here as opposed to the knob thing that you've got in the Leaf, because, well, it's a clunk. You know where you are. It's like an auto gearbox. Clearly it's not an auto gearbox because there's no gears in it. You can select forward or reverse, and you can also select between your normal drive mode and B for your full regen. Below that, we've got our heated seat controls, so high and low both sides, and our heated steering wheel. And then this middle bit, what we've got here is some nice storage areas. So we've got a nice big footprint here just to chuck stuff in. We've got a little area here to maybe place your phone on. I would probably put a little bit of non-slip matting there just to place your phone on. A couple of cup holders, and then this bit flips down forward and you've got a nice big area that you can chuck stuff in there out the way. And then behind us, we've got our bulkhead, which can be removed, as I've said before, but that just deflects some of the noise from the back if you've got it in. Looking across, you see the glove box, which I'll be honest is tiny. You can put a few documents in there. We've got some cup holders up on the side there for the passenger. An area up here that you can just pop some documents, probably A4 sort of size. You've got some lights up here to tell you it's charging and the charge state it's at. And just the general materials, well, they're rugged. They're what you would expect to find in a van. There's nothing pretty about them, but you know, it feels well made. It feels like you could knock and bash and spill stuff on it and then get in here with a soapy cloth and just wipe it all down, and it just stays nice and clean and easy to look after. So there we go, the Nissan NV200. I think this is absolutely brilliant. I've yet to find another van that I've enjoyed driving as much as this, and that, you know, that says something, because who really enjoys driving a van? It's a tool, it's part of your work. But this is a nice place to be. So that is it for today. What do you think? Are you somebody who drives a Nissan NV200 and are considering changing to an electric van, or any other van that's similar in size and shape? Would you consider an electric one? Would it work for you? Would 100 miles a day, is that enough for you? Do you need to rapid charge, do you think? Could this save you an absolute fortune, or is the starting cost too high? Just let's enter into a bit of a conversation. Let us know, because there's lots and lots of people looking at these, and it'd be really good to hear the views and opinions of those that use these day in, day out, and what they actually think of them. And also another thank you today to Just EVs, who have provided me with this van. They seem to have a really good supply of them. So if you are interested, have a look at their website. I'll put all the links and details in the description below. So a really big thank you to them. And if you did like today's video, remember to like and share. If you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at EV Opinion. Until next time, you have a great afternoon, and I'll see you soon. All the best.